Malifaux is one of those war games that does, in fact, exist. I know people play it, but I've never really seen much on it outside of the occasional thread on TG on alternate war games or people talking about how Malifaux is better than 40k for realsies, guys. Through the Breach is Malifaux's TTRPG, which is actually pretty interesting because it's written, published, and supported entirely by the company itself rather than a third party. But let's do a quick rundown on Malifaux lore. In the 1800s, a portal opened between our worlds and the mystical and very dead world of Malifaux. Using our boundless human creativity and genius, we colonized the fuck out of it. Inside this new mystical world are soul stones and the subsequent magic they bring, because it turns out when anyone can now cast testicular torsion, it becomes a commodity. However, this caused the breach to close eventually, but the damage was done. Flash forward to the year of our Lord, 1897, and the wound between worlds has reopened, leading to Gold Rush 2, Electric Boogaloo, ignoring all the horror that was also over there. Cool, got that, because that's just kind of scratching the surface really, which is 95% of the reason you've actually probably even looked at this game. But what are we actually playing? Malifaux is a pretty unique war game that it uses cards for most things, and Through the Breach is no different. At its absolute basics, there's a main deck of cards. This is the Fate deck. Whenever there's a check called the Fated, a character will flip a card from the Fate deck and add their skills and attributes to it. If it beats the target number, congratulations. If not, tough luck. But if that was it, it'd be pretty dull, huh? Each character has a twist deck, 13 cards that form a personal deck they can manipulate and replace the main Fate deck to, well, twist fates. Did you get it? I won't lie then when I say that's 80% of the game is just this. Even combat with its action point system keeps things pretty simple, though the damage flip keeps individual attacks pretty unique even if the same idea is present. But what are the Fated actually like? Page 72 to 280 is almost entirely about getting set up, and that mostly means character creation. But I'll explain a fast and dirty way into making one. We'll need to make John Train a dude. Every character is going to need to draw for their various features with the Crossroads Tarot. Expansions, as there are many, add more tarots for different character types, but this one is the basic one. Our first draw is a Nine of Diamonds, or Masks, as the game uses custom methods to doing things which they don't tell you till much later, but 52 card deck. But we were raised by burglars and have a basic skill. Now our physical and mental aspects are also drawn, but these are not equal in the slightest, with a 4 and 8 of hearts making us not really great in anything in particular, but with a bit of charm and cunning making us tough and glib when we need to be. Our root is what skills we have, which are also pretty random. Luckily, with a 2 of clubs, we end up with a 3-2-2-2-1 among our starting skills. Those also increased with our endeavor, which ends up as 7 of clubs with a 3-2-2-1 for our skills. All the skills are pretty easy and broken down into nice little categories, but everything has a reason for being there. The main goal here is to highlight what we are, who we are, and our entire history. That's really the basics. But now we're going to have to pick a pursuit. Instead of classes, Through the Breach uses a variable pursuits to highlight character abilities. At the end of every session, you get an ability with them, as well as you can improve any skills, but you can sub out these at any point as well. Sticking with Criminal, we get some basic gear, a basic perk, and talents, which gives us bonus to certain cards and abilities in play called triggers. For example, the Scoundrel has a social skill trigger with Fast Talk. If we play a diamond and it succeeds, we can attempt a pickpocket and do a bonus flip of the card. There are many fucking triggers, including a number of skill triggers, including a number of character triggers, and many pursuit triggers. But I'm tired of being a petty criminal, of course, so I can shift into being a wastrel, starting at the bottom but keeping everything I have already gained. There are advanced pursuits as well, which make a majority of the endgame content for the characters. Wrapping all this up is some talents and a subtle encouragement to grab more expansions, and ta-da, you have a character. Do you want guns? Plenty of them. You want magic? A pretty in-depth system of combining keywords and abilities together to create new effects. And of course, the twist deck. How can I forget? You just choose a defining, ascendant, center, and descendant suit, and off to the races you go. So make sure you buy at least like 3 decks of cards. Is this a lot? Yes! This book is 420 pages and has 2, maybe, sorta, major problems. First off is pretty simple. It's laid out pretty poorly and takes time to get to the point. This is the second edition, and they somewhat assume you already know what's going on, and after 280 pages, you expect to know what all these numbers actually mean, which it doesn't tell you until you realize it's Top Jack and Dream. The second issue is a little bit more for Malifaux fans. If you really like the setting, you're already playing this game and know what I'm talking about when I say a freak corpseman is in the core book, but gremlins aren't. If you don't know or care, this is pretty goddamn overwhelming. Nothing about the game is necessarily complicated. Parts are pretty simple, actually. Hell, there's just a lot of information that is laid out poorly. You're almost always going to be flipping back and forth with various character creation steps, double checking various notes everywhere just to get something done. And of course, you also have to kind of like Malifaux and its more exotic concepts to even get into this though. Is it bad? No, it's particular, and that particular game and feeling is for people who really love Malifaux already and are ready for a card-driven TRPG. If that's not doing it for you, arguably adapting the setting to something you're more comfortable with may be better for you in the long run. My name is Notepad, and this was Through the Breach. If you like what I do here, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and many thanks to the guild officers for continuing to fund my descent into madness. Godspeed, good luck, and always pop a gremlin.